Hey guys, I just wanted to talk about my latest PC update here. I have recently downsized, and this is the Ncase M1 small form factor PC. I've been very happy with it lately. I've got, I'll list the specs here on screen, and but anyway, I just wanted to talk about the Ncase M1 here and some of the things I've done in this particular build to maintain, good performance and temperatures as well. So yeah, we'll get right into it here. This is the Ncase M1, and it is the version 6.1, and I got it about 2 months ago, and overall been very happy with it. One of the things I've done here, and that is pretty obvious, is I have a tempered glass side panel, and this is the side panel window that I made with Optimum Text 3D printed mounts, and I printed his mounts, and as you can see, I've got a black bar around it. And what I did was I used black silicone here to mount the 3D printed mounts to the tempered glass itself. And I got the glass on onedayglass.com. I can put my dimensions in the description below, but I haven't seen the glass mounted to the plastic parts with black silicone yet. So this is something that I wanted to try, and my theory here was that I could over apply the black silicone and I could essentially create no air bubbles in theory, other than the double-sided tape that I've seen done as well. And I'd say overall I was 90% successful. If you look real close, it's hard to tell with the lighting in the room, but I might have like one or two small air bubbles in the corners. It's not perfect, but when it's on the desk and you got the lighting on, it really, you can hardly tell. So overall, been very happy with the tempered glass here. I'll kind of get a side angle here so you can see how far it sticks out and all that. It sticks out a little bit. You can kind of see, it's not perfectly flush. There is a little bit of thickness on the 3D printed mounts here. So the silicone was kind of a pain to clean up, but overall I think it was worth my time to do, and I did want a tempered glass side panel on this case as well. So that is one of the things that I'm really happy with in this case. One of the things I want to show you guys real quick is how easy it is to get the tempered glass side panel off. I get the lights on in the shop now, so you can see a little easier. So I had them turned down before so you can see the lighting a little better. But so this is just taking the tempered glass side panel off. You just pop off the top 3 tabs and then wiggle it off the shelves here. So you can kind of see the printed brackets there and how they're mounted, how it's mounted to the glass. So there's the shelves on the bottom here. Not sure if that's focusing well or not. But overall, pretty happy with the tempered glass side panel. So one thing I did do here was I put 2 pieces of electrical tape. You're not going to be able to see it on camera, I bet, but there's 2 little strips of electrical tape here, and that is to prevent the tempered glass side panel from rattling. And I noticed that on certain mouse movements I would get a little bit of vibration from the tempered glass side panel on these hard mounts. So I just put a little strip of electrical tape there, and I've also got a little bit on the sides here, and that's so that the light doesn't bleed through the side of the glass. So it's not a perfect implementation, but it does serve its purpose and look pretty nice in my opinion. CPU, I'm running a delidded 8700K, and just to give you guys some background, I have never delidded a CPU before. I've never had the need to be honest. I think it's pretty common knowledge that the 8700K greatly benefits from delidding. So this is something that I looked into when I went small form factor. My motivation behind it wasn't to overclock in this build, but rather to have a much quieter system at stock clocks. So this is the tool that I printed to delid, and this is on Thingiverse. It worked really well. Was a little nervous using it, but I think that's with any delid. This was my first time delidding, so I'll have a link for this in the description, and I also used Conductonaut from Thermal Grizzly. So pretty happy with this. Just a reminder, it is conductive, so be careful with the application. I used the black gasket maker to reseal the IHS to the PCB, and I just did 4 little dabs in each corner, which I feel like is enough so it will hold, but not, but still adhere to the PCB. So I haven't had any issues. I got my temps written down here. So the hottest my CPU gets right now at stock clocks is 78 degrees, and that is when I'm playing Modern Warfare. I feel like with so much movement in that game, it really puts a load on the CPU. But during Warzone, I'll peak around 76, 77, and then in Apex, I'll be around 75 or 76. So that's with a very conservative fan curve. I'm, the case is almost silent when I'm playing. So overall, very, very happy with the D-Lid. Glad I did it. So another thing I want to talk about here is the cover that I made for the power supply shroud. And so this whole cover here basically slips in between the RAM slots and the 24 pin for the CPU. And it basically covers up the power supply, and then it also bends down in here into the graphics card portion to kind of cover up any wiring on the graphics card side. So I originally printed this in PLA, but I did get some deformation after a day or two of playing. PLA gets soft around 60 or 70 degrees. So, one of the things I did do was I reprinted it in PETG, and so should be good for 70, 80 degrees continuous. So I've had this mount in there for about 4 days and haven't had any issues. So I'll pop the top panel off real quick so you can see how it gets installed. So the panel here actually gets installed from the top down, and you can see that's really the only way it can get installed, just from clearance issues. So I've kind of exposed some of the wiring more, but I'll try to get a view here. You can see it just slips right in between the RAM slot and the 24 pin there. So the top of it isn't the prettiest. With the PETG, I did have to use a brim for it to stick to the bed. So you don't really see the top anyway, though, when it's installed. So anyway, graphics card, I'm running a RTX 2080, and this is the Founders Edition. I've had it for about a year. Been very happy with it. I do have it undervolted to about 950 millivolts. And I have been completely stable at that range. I used MSI Afterburner to undervolt. And on the bottom, I've got 2 NZXT AER 120 millimeter fans. Those are left over from a previous build. So I know you can't even see the RGB ring on the bottom, but I figure I would use them anyway. They'll probably get replaced with Noctua Chromaxes down the road, but for now they work. So last, we'll talk about the RGB lighting in the case. So the case doesn't originally come with the RGB lighting. I actually ended up reusing one of the RGB controllers from an NZXT case that I had, and it's from an H710i. So what I did here was I basically mounted the controller from the H710i. And so this is an RGB controller and a fan controller. So it lets me have full control of all the fans in my case, as well as the LED lighting control. So, and I basically have one strip along the right side here, which connects to one strip along the bottom. And then that pigtails up to one strip along the top. I've got these LEDs turned off because they shine right through the glass window, and it's kind of blinding when you play. But that is a nice thing about addressable RGBs. So anyway, we'll get the panels back on here real quick. That's going to complete the overview of my new PC build. Overall, very happy with it. I might make a couple fan changes here and there down the road, but pretty set for now. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'm pretty active here on YouTube, so feel free to leave a comment if you want, and subscribe if you like, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.